Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to talk to you about rebranding Mr. Darcy and why I decided to do it. Y'all know that Mr. Darcy line is named after Jane Austen's characters in Pride and Prejudice. And Jane Austen is probably my favorite author because if I look at her collection of books, I don't dislike any of them. In fact, my favorite book that she wrote is Emma. I just love that story, and that one is by far my favorite, but I love them all, so it's really like trying to pick a favorite M&M. Like, I love the whole bag. But we were running out of color names, just sticking to Pride and Prejudice. And so I thought now, since we're bringing back the Toffee color, I thought now would be the perfect time to rebrand that line. And so what I decided to do was call the line Austen, after my favorite author. And that will open up the colors because I have a lot of colors that I'm planning over the next 5 years. And they're all custom colors from our one of our leather suppliers. And I wanted to make sure that I had enough names for them. So I thought that actually I didn't come up with this idea. I wanted to rebrand it, yes, but to call it Austen was not my idea. It was actually Lara's idea. And I was like, it's perfect. So she's like, let's just call it Austen. And I was like, yes, absolutely perfect. She and I are often on the same wavelength. And I guess that's why she's my assistant. She's fabulous. But anyway, so we're going to call it Austen. And then the Toffee color, I have been selling since 2015, and it is the very first Mr. Darcy color that I've ever offered. And to pay homage to that and to just, keep part of our heritage, I thought it would be nice to name the Toffee color Mr. Darcy. So that way we still have our Mr. Darcy and we have room for a whole bunch more colors, which are not going to come in 2020, all of them. But over the next 5 years, I have many colors planned out. And so the Mr. Darcy color is the original Toffee. So if you have an original Toffee, it's still called Toffee. Okay, anything made prior to 2020 is still going to be called Toffee. And if it was made after 2020, then it's going to be called Mr. Darcy. Last year, I had wanted to start adding labels to the things that we make because a lot of people will buy things secondhand, or they'll have something that they've had for a while. They'll forget the name of it. They'll post pictures or they will email pictures to us and ask us if we can identify it for them. And it's not as easy as you might think to identify by a photograph. I very much am a touchy-feely person. I want to touch it, feel it, smell it, and then I'll know exactly what leather it is. It's like I have like a catalog in my head by feeling and smelling and visually seeing it. And a photograph is only one aspect of that. So it's really hard for me to identify it just from a photograph sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, no, obviously that's a creme brulee. But so what I decided last year that I wanted to do was start labeling the notebooks. But last year was not a good time. I wanted to wait until the beginning of 2020 so we could just start a new, fresh year and start labeling the notebooks. So I put kind of like a little tester on Instagram, and I had over 800 people ecstatic about the idea. They were very, very supportive. They all voted, yes, do it. Over 800 people. Then we had a few people on Facebook ask me to reconsider my choices. So let me show you what inspired me to do it, actually. So I have several Bibles similar to this. So this is a Schuler Bible. And it's a very, very nicely made Bible. And on the inside, in gold lettering, there it is, goatskin leather. And all of my nice Bibles are like this. Even the cheap Bibles will say genuine leather in there. And so that's what inspired me to do it. And then a friend of mine actually this morning pointed out to me that Filofax does the same thing. And I'm not a ring person, remember? So I didn't realize that. But a lot of, higher end leather goods, if it's made of leather, it's labeled. And that much I know. I've checked all my purses, they're all labeled. They're just, that's how it is. So I thought it would be great if my stuff was labeled too, because then you will be able to look at it and know exactly what you have if you've put it on a shelf and forgotten it for a little while. And especially if you have a large collection, you'll be able to quickly identify what you have. So for 2020, you'll see the label Austen Mr. Darcy 2020, and you will know that that is the new Toffee. And if you don't have that label on yours, then you know it's the original Toffee, and you get it. I think you get it. So that's the whole story kind of behind that, and why we decided to do it that way. And I'm going to check my notes real quick. All right, so just to simplify it for you, really, really easy, you're only going to call it a Mr. Darcy if you got it in 2020 and it has the label. All other things are still called Toffee, and hopefully that will help you know what you have. If you have an original, it's Toffee, and if you have a 2020, it's Mr. Darcy. And the whole collection is called Austen, and I'm excited to tell you we have a new color coming within the next 6 months, and it is called Colonel Brandon. And I think some of you are going to love it. If you love green, you'll love it. Oops. Anyway, I don't love it, but I didn't get it for me. I got it for you. So let's see. The Hemingway Mr. Darcy, because Hemingways are made from Darcy's. And so the Hemingway version of Mr. Darcy is going to be called Ketchum. And that is actually the final home and resting place of Mr. Hemingway. And so that's what that one's going to be called, is Ketchum. And I believe that's in Idaho. So Ketchum, Idaho. But we're just going to call it Ketchum. And it will have a dark brown border. It'll be brown. And it's going to be gorgeous. So if you love Hemingway, you're going to love the Ketchum version. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick, since I have your attention, or maybe you left by now, but I wanted to talk about the website organization. So if you go to the website and you expect it to look like it has been looking for the past 4 years, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. So we are organizing it in alphabetical order, and then we put little things like key fobs, leather samples, pin quivers. We put those all in one listing called small leather goods. And what you have to do is you just have to hit the drop down to get the item that you're looking for if it's a small leather good. So it's going to be like in the Austen Collection, you will find a listing that says small leather goods. Look for things like key fobs and pen quivers and the zipper wallets and stuff like that in that listing. And then if you've noticed, you're not going to be able to see a separate listing for things like weekly. We went ahead and added those into the deluxe listing. So you just go to the deluxe listing, you'll be able to find weekly in there. And hopefully it'll just make it a little bit easier for you. Here's something you should not experience when you come to shop with me, okay? Well, you should not be able to go to the deluxe listing, select A5 or any size actually, and have it tell you that size is sold out. If you get a sold out when you select something, it's because there is none left in any size. So I hope that makes sense. The way that it works is we tell the system that we have enough leather to do 100 notebooks. I'm just using 100 because it's a nice round number, okay? And so we can do 100 notebooks, and then you select the size that you want, and when you make your purchase, that takes it down to 99. And then the next person will come and select the size that they want, and that'll take it down to 98. And so it just keeps going down, and it doesn't matter what size you pick, that it's going to go down by however many you purchase. So you'll be able to get any size selection that we have until it reaches 0. And that way we're making what you want. And that, to me, that makes sense. Now, some people asked, well, since you're making them on demand, why can't you change the color of the thread? Why can't you change the layout of the pockets? Why can't you, what else did they want? Oh, can I not have a pen loop? So the thing is the way that we work is standardized, and any change to the standard causes, it opens the door for mistakes to happen, and it also exponentially increases the amount of time it takes to make that said item. And so we don't do custom work because it's all standardized. My crew is learning how to be as efficient as possible, and efficiency is key when you're trying to make a high quality product. Now, when I first started Chic Sparrow, I did nothing but custom work. That's all I did. And it took me about a year to realize that in order for my company to grow, I could not do custom work anymore. And there are companies out there that do custom work. They do a beautiful job at it, and I encourage them to keep doing it. They have figured out how to do it. And people don't mind waiting to have custom work done. Now, I had a Bible refinished by a guy whose work is so fantastic. It took 8 months. I waited 8 months. I sent him my Bible. I told him exactly what I wanted. I did not change my mind. And that's another thing with custom work. People have a tendency to change their mind on what they want, and so that delays the process even more. And custom work is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. But I didn't change my mind. I told him exactly what I wanted. I told him what leather I wanted. I told him how I wanted the yap to be. I told him every detail. I laid it out for him. I did not change my mind. I waited 8 months, and it was worth it because his work is impeccable. It's gorgeous, and I did not bring it here to show you, but it's stunning. I don't even like to open the Bible too much to use it because it's so pretty, and the whole thing is held together with glue. There's not a stitch on it, and it's gonna last 50 years at least, and it's all glue. I don't know. Anyway, bunny trail. Let me get back on track. That was a custom rebinding of my Bible, and it took 8 months. Now, easily, he doesn't have the volume that I have for customers. He has a much lower volume, and it still took him 8 months. Since I have a much higher volume, just changing the thread color, it throws a wrench in the entire system, and it sounds simple. I'll just change the color. No big deal. It sounds simple, but I promise you it's not that simple. And, we're working when you have a team of 25 people all working to make Chic Sparrow awesome, and you throw a wrench into what they're doing, it can be discouraging because when they make a mistake, they kind of beat themselves up over it. They don't like making mistakes, and any little change that we do, it causes stress for them until that change becomes normal. And I don't want them to be stressed every single day. And that is one of the main reasons why I don't do custom work anymore. Also, I find custom work tedious. It's very tedious. And like I said, it's not for the faint of heart at all. If you want custom work, there are so many people out there that do it, and you'll get the customizations that you want, and I highly, highly recommend you go use them. Unfortunately, Chic Sparrow is not the place that you go for custom work, and that's just how it is. It's not that simple. I wish it was, but it isn't. I think that's all in my notes. All right, so if you're still with me, go ahead and leave comments down below if you have any comments. Like if you like, down thumb if you don't like. Subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on our other social medias. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Um, Pick your flavor. Check us out. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that everything I said made sense. If it doesn't, please ask below and I'll be happy to clarify it further for you. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye.